We're back! Peps and Jdog for Season 8, for Season 2025. Lace Out is back on your screens for another year of awesome football. We've got a brand new setup, a brand new look, but the same old vibe and more receding hairlines. It's great to have the superstar joining me once again. Jamie the Jdog Wallace, how are you, great man? It's been a really quiet off-season for the AFL. We'll get into all of that in just a moment, but just checking in, sharing the love, seeing how you are, and welcome everyone back before I give you some massive updates with what's been going on with our amazing Lace Out channel. Over to you, big dog. How are you?
I'm very well, Peps. How are you?
Living the dream, mate. Living the dream, just like every unemployed person does. They wake up late, they drop the kids off at school, they sit down, they spend all day getting everything ready for a brand new season, and then they study really hard, and then by the time that I've had a swim and gone for a walk, it's nighttime and, rinse and repeat. Maybe a few job applications as well too.
That's good. We need to, just a quick shout out to Thomas Roker for...
rampaging! How good was rampaging?
The video series that you guys did, that was wonderful. To get a bit of a rundown of what's going on in AFL and where you think the clubs are going to land.
Mate, it was amazing. Last night we redid our 6th episode, part 6. Ran through it 1 hour, probably our best one, and the recording crapped itself. So we're coming back tomorrow night to roll out the 6th one again for West Coast, Western Bulldogs and Sydney. But if you haven't had a look, jump on the Lace Out YouTube channel. It is absolutely awesome, because we have got 5 season previews up for the first 15 clubs, and they have been going off like a bride's nighty. So it's great to have everybody on board. But no, it's very good. He's done an amazing job. He's had shootings, he's had storms. It's been a chaotic affair trying to get them all done, but it's been good to get us back online and ready to rock in season 2025.
How has your summer been, Peps?
Summer. Well, let me talk about it, my friend. Been good. Bit of golf. A bit of golf. Spending time with the fam. A lot of time in the pool. But just just enjoying football. It's been an interesting come around this year. I don't know. There's a bit of a vibe around it where this could be last year was really doit, and I think this could be doiter. I reckon there's only 3 teams that can't make finals this year, which we'll go into a little bit later. But it is, immense just how crazy so far this season is going to be.
Happy with the Big Bash results?
Couldn't care less.
Happy with what other sports been taking place over summer? Happy with the cricket. Perhaps in cricket, the Australian cricket team in general.
Oh, Australian cricket team! What a farce of a series that was. Like really, it was a great, biggest one we've ever had, but. It was a bit of a farce, let's be honest. It was a farce. But hey, quick thing I just need to let everybody know who's joining us. A lot of people are joining us for the first time. A lot of people who haven't seen us before. We're Jamie, the Jdog Wallace. He's my co-host with the most. I'm Chris Pepper, the 377-game superstar of the East Keeler Football Club. We've been going for 7 years. This is our 8th year for Lace Out. It is the #1 unofficial podcast for the AFL this side of the Westgate Bridge, and more importantly, this is a bit of a dry run. We know it all really kicks off next week. It's week 0 for us. It's week 0 for the AFL. But we've got a brand new look, a brand new feel to how the podcast is going to run. So we've got a few tweaky problems that we'll get through today, but we're going to go through quite a bit of stuff. But don't be afraid if you haven't joined. Hit the subscribe button, give us a like, because, the more people that join our channel, the bigger guests that we can have on and the bigger content we can roll out week in, week out. So we'll be going live twice a week, Monday night with me and the big dog, and then I will also be going live with my tips on a Wednesday, Thursday, depending on when the games are going to be as well too. So it's going to be
with substitutes on my end, because I like to have my Peps. You know me, I'm a man of not many things. Beautiful family, of course, and all that sort of thing. I mean, obviously the non-negotiables, but I like to take my leisure time.
You do.
And this year I've got a couple of annual leave periods that you've approved for me.
Yes.
Unfortunately, one does fall over. Another September holiday, Peps. You know that how it works. But it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, last year's grand final was a farce. Like grand finals are fast anyway. So if we don't put a show on the grand final week after, it doesn't matter because they're a fast.
No, yeah, it is.
They're a fast, Peps.
I don't even know why we do a grand final show because
let's address it right now, Peps. Grand finals are more underwhelming than New Year's Eves are.
When was the last good grand final that we had?
I would say the Melbourne.
Oh no, Brisbane.
Was it before? That was after. That was before yours.
No, the one that was the Brisbane Collingwood
Geelong?
the year before.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, sorry, that was a good one. But I mean, they're more often flatline than rise to meet expectation.
Yeah, I reckon I reckon that's a pretty good point you've got going on there. I do agree.
Let's just go to the middle of the circle and just do rock, paper, scissors.
Do you reckon we should just maybe? How about we just go the Brad Ottens? We'll just do the Brad Ottens. So we just turn up in the back half of the year. Forget the first 12 weeks and just turn up in the back end. That's what I reckon we should do.
Let's just pro ball it. Peps. Let's do, because they do it every year. We should make grand final day State of Origin day.
You reckon? You're right.
Don't even bother playing the game. Let's just do an EPL style ladder system, Peps. I'm going to change this. I'm going to change it to 2025 and beyond.
All right.
Ladder style, EPL style. Whoever finishes on top wins a championship. And then grand final day, we put on our State of Origin.
No.
I have solved 3 issues in one in the first 5 minutes of this show, Peps.
That is, that's amazing. I love it.
I've resolved it.
I love it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's just do it.
Let's do it.
Let's just do it. So a lot going on. Chuka's joined us again. He's the first guest for the year joining us again. Old Mossy. He's saying Dogs and Swans for the grand final. You are on Dogs. Well,
Peps, what are we doing? So, Peps, the people who are playing along at home, they can actually join with us.
Yeah, they can join with us.
We are going through today our season predictions based off the exquisite style of football we've seen in practice matches for the last 2 weeks.
Yep.
And Peps and I decided to make a whole season based on that now.
Yep, that's it. We're just going live. We're going live with everything, and I'm excited for it. So what we're going to do is...
What's the topics?
Well, the topics we're going to go through today, because today is the important one. We've got round 0 coming up. We'll have a bit of a chat about it, the games coming up, etc. But what we're going to be looking at is what our ladders are for the year, and probably why we've picked teams to go in and why we have picked teams to go out. And we're going to go through the usuals. Who's going to be in the grand final? Who's going to be in the Norm Smith Rising Star? We're also going to say who's the first coach to be sacked, and what's going to be the biggest bombshell trade to occur, do you think, by the end of the year? Because there's some rumblings already going on, and we want to try and work out who it's going to be and why. So, what we are going to do is, I reckon we start with our ladders. And I reckon what we'll do is we are going to start from 18 and we're going to work our way up. All right? Okay. We're going to alternate. So I'll go first, you go second, then you go 17th, I'll go 17th, then I'll go 16th, so we get to go back and forth, if that makes sense.
It does.
Right? Beautiful. Now, if we are a little bit rusty, everybody, it is the first show for the year. And mind you, there's only the northern states playing next week, so it doesn't really count. It's round 0, so that's, doesn't really count for them. Doesn't really count for us. We'll be back bigger and better next week with a couple of changes I can already see I need to make on the chat. Rightio. First club, which is going to be last. Pretty simple, Richmond. They are putrid. They couldn't hit water if they fell out of a boat. They've got nobody. Do you feel sorry for Tim Taranto and Jacob Hopper, who went over with premierships in their eyes, and now they've just got first-round draft picks all the way around them. Adam Uze, he's not going to get sacked, let's be honest, but they are going to be... Look, there hasn't been many opportunities, I think, for a team to go winless. I can probably see them getting maybe 1 to 2 wins at the most this year. That is how under the sun they are. They can't do anything. They're rotten. And that's just because they've cut so deep. They've cut deep. And that's the only way I can look at it, big dog.
Okay. I have decided to go for North.
Ooh, interesting.
Again. I know that there were signs of improvement last year, but I just cannot see them winning more than one game this season.
Okay. So you've gone North.
Yes.
Oh, jeez. It's already starting.
Which I'll roll into my 17, and I picked Richmond. So we were based almost the same. What did you have for 17th for you?
For 17th, mate, I've actually gone with West Coast. I know they've picked up a couple. They have picked up a couple. Look, they did look better on the weekend. They did beat North in a practice match over there by a kick. But I wouldn't be, belting down the doors for finals tickets just yet. I just think that they've got a lot of hurt coming. I think from my perspective, they're in a little bit better place than Richmond.
They traded out their picks for
Baker, Graham.
Yeah, but their first pick in last year's draft was pick 16.
Yep.
So yeah,
because they got Reed the year before.
Yeah.
So I just think that they're going to be in for a world of hurt, but not as much hurt as West Coast, as Richmond. Richmond have got that one in the bag, to be honest. That's the way I look at it with them, yeah.
16.
Yeah, 16. I've gone with North. So those three have sort of worked themselves out nicely. Bo Hawkins has gone with a bit of Richmond, Essendon, West Coast, St Kilda action, which is interesting. But no, I've gone with North. Went and watched them a couple of weeks ago. They got beaten by Melbourne's tactically their reserves team, but I did see a little things. I did see some small things that I went, okay, they'll be better. Having Darling down there is going to make a massive difference for Larky. I also think that Caleb Daniel, Luke Parker are just going to add a little bit more experience around the blocks. But Sheasel is an absolute freak. Wardlaw, when he comes back, is going to be even better. McKercher, they've got really everything nicely. They've got everything nicely set up. They've got a couple issues down back. That just needs to be worked out with Comden. But I just think they've got another preseason into these young kids. They've got more stock than I think West Coast do. But I still think there's a gap between them and the teams moving up as well. So that's why I've gone with North to be in 16th.
Yep. And for that 16th position, I had West Coast. So we've got the same bottom three, just flicked around the orders a little bit.
Yep, exactly right. All right, who we got for 15th? Now, this is where the fun begins.
That's no surprise for anyone. I think most tippers would have had something similar to what we had.
No, that's no surprise there. I think where the surprise lies, Jdog, is I think everything moving up now. I think everything moving up because I can almost see any of the remaining 15 teams could fit into the 8. Some more than others, but there are some teams that could literally, if everything goes to plan, they could finish in the 8, but they need a lot of things to go right. And it's going to start with that team that you have in 15th. And who's that?
Yeah, I've got Essendon.
You got Essendon. Interesting.
I do.
Okay. All right, he's got Essendon. Well,
why
have you gone with them? Tell me why.
Well, a couple of nice pre-season sort of things going on. They've got another couple of kids, but I've got other teams placed ahead of them, and there is some absolute quality on some of these lists. And my top 8 is going to be controversial. I accept that.
Yep.
And I just don't see them jumping up this year. I'm sorry, Essendon supporters. I think that streak will still continue. But I don't see it. I just don't. When I look at the Essendon list, I don't see a great list.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't see many great cattle at all.
Yeah. And I think that's that's one thing that I would almost say as well, that I've actually got St Kilda in that next spot. So I've got St Kilda coming in at 16th. They're not much different from last year. They're probably their best young kid is out injured now in Mitchie Owens. Max King can't even get on the park. Are the King brothers the Bruce Reid from the Australian cricket team reincarnate, because they just break down time and time again. Max breaks down more than my Hyundai i40 that's out at the mechanics at the moment. He's in a bad place at the moment.
I want to know, Peps.
Yep.
I know we chatted about this in the off season. I want to know the strike rate of clubs when they take a forward in the top 10 on their actual living up to their potential. I don't reckon it'd be that high.
No, I don't think you ever pick a key forward in. No, I wouldn't go a key forward ever in that number one spot. Ever.
No, in the top 10. In the top 10.
No, yeah.
Not many appeared in the last decade.
And normally the ones that, like, I think it was Jai and Miss. No, but I even think like Jai and Miss. No, but I even think Jai and Miss was when he got picked was quite a late pick as well.
Yeah.
So I reckon a lot of the key forwards, they take time, and when they do, I can't think of any of the key forwards. You probably go maybe Curnow.
Can't get in the park.
Oh, Jesse Hogan would be. You'd be.
Nah.
But he was.
Four clubs, 15 years on a list. No way.
Oh, you'd have him at Port. You'd have him at Port.
If you look at midfielders come through the top 10, they have much better careers than what a forward would have in that top 10.
Yeah, it's it's an interesting one, isn't it? I just think that they're going to be they're going to be in a bit of
All right, so 14 Peps. I have gone with Gold Coast.
Pardon?
14, I've gone Gold Coast.
Wow, that is a big one. All right, now we're getting controversial. You love this stuff. Why have you gone with Gold Coast being that far down? Because that's a big one.
Yeah, I think they've got some great young kids. I still think that they are at least another year away under the Dimmer system.
Yep.
They've got some demons that they need to exercise up there in terms of another list out, and I think they've done another sweep at player and also at back of club level, and I reckon they're still another year away.
Yeah. Okay. I think interesting. I'll look at Gold Coast, and I was having a chat to Tommy about this, that they could really rock it.
Yep.
But they could also just hover again. I don't think that they will drop. I think they've got way too much talent. I think getting Rioli and Noble up there is going to make a massive difference to this club. Jed Walter just looks like an absolute beast down there. Their backline is set up nicely, and their midfield, I think, just another year under Harwick. I reckon they'll be really hard to beat. You got to think about it. They play 11 games at home this year. At a minimum, 12, I think. They could win 10 of those. They could win. They only need another 4 wins, which is on the road, which is a challenge in itself. But they only need another 4 more wins to make finals.
Well, I've got them sort of pinned between 11 and 12 wins.
Yeah, so they'll win most of their games at home, but I think that their challenge is going to be, I think the challenge that they're going to have is how do they win those games away? Because they're not school trips, they're not school excursions. You need to pull on the big boy pants when you play away, and they haven't put the big boy pants on for a long time.
I still see, and I know this is probably going to cut into a little bit here, but I still see that you like the cutoff is you have to have a 13+ season wins.
Oh.
To make
no doubt. It's getting even, and like I said, even it's getting harder now. You were able to do it for a long time, getting in with probably 12 wins. But just the way that the competition is set up now, it is ridiculous. It's not going to be easy at all. So yeah, I reckon you definitely have something there when you look at it. Who's going to do what and when?
Who's your 14th?
14th, I've got Western Bulldogs.
Ooh.
Yep.
Okay. That is okay. Just spoiler alert. That's a long way from where I had them.
Okay. All right. So the reason is They have got that many. They've got that many injuries at the moment. They are going to struggle, and I can't see them. I just can't see them dominating. And so I said this as part of our preview last night. I was speaking to Tommy, and the one that we have to re-record tomorrow night because it failed. The issue that I had with the Doggies is if you have a look at their top 5 in their BNF last year, right? So their top 5, and I'm just getting it up as we speak, is the Bont. We know the Bont was number 1. We also know that number 2 was Bailey Dale. Here we go. So the Bont was first, injured, out for 6 weeks. All right. Second was Adam Treloar, injured. Won't be back for maybe the first or second week. So, but he's going to be hamstrung. He's going to need a couple of weeks to get into the swing of things. Third, Bailey Dale. See Adam Treloar. Next is Liam Jones. He's going to be out for a considerable amount of time. Ed Richards has been out, hasn't had a preseason game. He'll be preseason fit, but he won't be match fit. He's going to take a week or two to get into it. Tom Liberatore, he's a grunter, so he'll get something at him, so I'm not worried about him. Lockie Bramble played every game last year. Bailey Williams, Taylor Duray. So that's their top. So their top 5 players from their BNF last year are either injured and going to miss a substantial amount of time or are going to miss the first few weeks. Throw in the fact that you haven't got Jamari Ugle-Hagan there either for whatever. Aaron Norton is not reliable as a main forward. We've seen it happen in finals way too often where he just doesn't dominate. So that puts it all onto Sam Darcy to bring up the slack. And I just think that there's too many variables in this team that if they get off to a slow start, which I think that they will get off to a slow start, it's going to be catch up and they're going to be relying on a lot of teams. And you add that in to a coach that is under pressure, whether it's internal or external.
Yeah.
It's going to be I reckon it's going to be a tough year for them. Just everything that could have gone wrong from Christmas onwards has for this team.
And the loss of Bailey Smith as well.
And Bailey Smith. Oh, Bailey Smith, I've never really rated Bailey Smith, and you know that. I think that he's a good player, but he's not someone that has what was the last game that he really dominated? It'd be very hard to pick. So I think there's they're going to find it a bit tough this year, to be honest, and that's why I've gone with the Bulldogs to be there. All right. Who have you got next, 13. Mate?
For 13, I have got the Pies.
Wow, interesting. Okay, yep.
But this middle 6, Peps, I've got them split by literal hairs just based on my gut feeling. There's no intuition or no stats from last year and looking at best and fairest of the clubs of the 2024 season.
Yeah.
These are all split by like a win and a half, all these teams.
Yep. It's a farce, I reckon, Jdog. I really think this one's a farce. I think, yeah. So from a Collingwood perspective, is there anything that sort of the reasoning why you've dropped them so low? Or are you just saying, look, this is where there's a reason why I've got them in that position? Because that's, you're 4 spots out of the 8.
Yeah, I've only got them really 2 games out of the 8, really. Look, they've added in Dan Houston. They've added in some real good halfback a firepower there. I just don't... last year, I wasn't too sure on the back end of how they were. They dropped away. They had some terrible start of the season.
Yeah, they did.
Terrible,
they had a terrible start to the season, exactly.
And... I don't know. I don't know where Collingwood are. Their preseason games were, once again, they're preseason, so you can't read too much into it. But they were mediocre.
Yep.
So that's kind of weighted a little bit into me. I know preseason means nothing to me, but it also helps my ratings. So I don't mean to gaslight you there, Peps. But
no, I agree. You've got to get some sort of idea on how these teams are playing and how they're structuring up, etc. I haven't got them down that far. But what you said, I agree wholeheartedly, because a good core of their team is over 30 years of age. They're arguably their second best player in that team, or third, which is Pendlebury, is turning, 63, 64 this year. So
Yeah.
he, like, do you know what I mean? Like, they're still, mind you, if I look that good at 37, like the boy he can still play, but they're just their entire back line is literally over 30. And the jump when you get from, into your 30s, you only need 1 year and then it's over. Like that's how quick it can come. And you don't even realize it until you can't make that next contest. You can't make that spoil. They'll start going to ground a lot more. They'll start missing their kicks a lot more. They won't chase as hard. It's all these little things that you start to do when you get to a point that the game is too quick for you. And I think that and I don't reckon it's going to be at the start of the year. I reckon as it gets towards the last 7-8 rounds, that's when it'll really start to nosedive. Don't be surprised if they have a good start to the year, but it nosedives in the back end because the age factor will catch up.
And they've also got a gentle draft, a gentle draw in terms of the games played in Melbourne. We know that crap every year, right?
Yep.
I'm not going to go down that path.
Nope.
But I still think that's still they're going to have a pretty tough draw.
They've got a tough draw, but it's Collingwood. They played 16 games at the MCG or some ridiculous amount. So that'll never change. They'll never go down to Geelong. They'll never go down to Mars Stadium. We're going to have to deal with it. The AFL, regardless of how they say it's an even draw and it's an even setup, it's not. But they should do something.
Who's your 13th, Peps?
13th, Essendon. Now, The reason I got Essendon is, I said this to Tommy. Who from Essendon are you worried about? When Port go and play Essendon, who do you go, oh, geez, I'll tell you, we're playing Essendon shit this week. I've got to watch out. He'll kill us. He'll destroy us.
There's no one.
There's no one. So no one fears Essendon. And you can say, oh, that's good because they play as a collective. It's all great. I don't see it. I don't feel it. I did see Essendon supporters lining up out the front of High Point the other day for finals tickets already because of their performance on the weekend. But the key factor which hung it out for me is when it comes to Essendon, have a look at their goal kickers from last year, all right? Because this is how I've sort of analysed teams. I've gone from their goal kickers. Their leading goal kicker was Kyle Langford last year. Yep.
Right.
Jake Stringer was 42 who was next. The one after that was 19. So somehow Essendon need to find another 42 goals and more to put themselves in contention. Where are they going to get those 42 goals? Are you saying that they're going to come all from a mix between Caddy and Kako? Potentially. Is it going to be Archie Perkins? Is he going to, fire up after how many years?
I don't blame Essendon for letting go of Stringer. Like, you couldn't give him what he was asking.
No, you couldn't.
So what can you do?
You can't. But they gave Darcy Parish 7 years.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Look,
I don't want to be a rocket scientist, but Stringer made 9th and the best and fairest. Darcy Parish was nowhere to be seen.
Plus, I just said the 40 goals.
And the 40 goals. So I just think that's too much of a gap that they've got to try and make up. And I'm a bit concerned about them. I am concerned about them. If they play, and I don't think they can play like they did on the weekend consistently enough. And it's a practice match too, so. Rightio. What are we up to now?
12.
Melbourne.
Same. Melbourne.
Yep. This one's I'm either going to be really on the mark with this, or it's going to bite me on the ass big time. Because they've got the capability to play finals. But my concern is just what's going on down forward. They had 60 inside 50s on the weekend and lost to Fremantle. And it was bad goal. If they'd kicked straight, they would have won. Bad goal kicking. But The other side, the way I look at it, is they missed the finals by 2 games, and you had injuries to May, Lever. Oliver didn't do a preseason at all last year. Harrison Petty didn't do a preseason at all last year. They did it through the entire season. And Petrarca was missing for half the year. And they only missed it by 2 games. So if they get the consistency out of that... Pardon?
Petrarca's going to be missing for more than half a year this year.
Shut up. I know, from leather poison.
He's already bags are packed. He's crossing the road.
Good luck. Hey, if they can give us the 17 first rounders for him, go Collingwood, do whatever you can. But I just think
Peps, I went to the Best and Fairest with you.
Yes.
Thank you to the lovely Tori who organised those tickets for us.
Superstar.
And what I've learned and my reflections of that night is if you guys play in the spirit of Jimmy Steins and you play with the heart of Robbie Flower.
Shut up, will ya? Can you get off this?
And Brad Green said that all of your midfield will be there lining up in round 1. So if Brad Green comes and says that to the legion of followers, Melbourne should just make finals. That should be the minimum expectation. I would have thought from your supporter base.
No, we are. We are. I'd rather be proved wrong than right in this one.
Well, other than putting on a great show at the Best and Fairest, I had them in 12th spot as well. Peps.
Yep. But for what was your reason?
For the same reasons.
Yep.
I think the midfield is there, barring any mid-season media beat-ups, which we know that the Melbourne bubble likes to do to Melbourne.
Oh, yes, they do. Yep.
And yeah, that's for really Melbourne. There's not a lot of changes for you guys.
There's not a lot of changes. There's been changes in the off-field side of things. And like I've said for 7 years, you get your off-field right, your on-field will take care of itself. They've got rid of a lot of the issues that were outstanding. 3 of the big ones, the president, the CEO, and the lawsuit, they've all been worked out. So they can just concentrate on footy. We're going to talk about coaches later on. Ours is going to be one who I think is going to be in a little bit of trouble, I must admit. I'm a bit concerned about Goody. I will admit. But I think that they wouldn't surprise me if they finished playing finals either.
Yep. Who's 11th for you, Peps?
11th. Yes, 11th. I have Collingwood. For all the reasons I said a little bit earlier on. I can see them missing finals. I don't think that they'll play finals. They'll probably have a great start to the year. Everybody will be on the bandwagon, and then everything will just fall off in the back end because of the age factor. Yep.
I've got the Crows.
Okay, interesting.
I have the Crows above you guys based purely on an easier draw this year. That's all for them.
Okay. Yep. All right. Fair enough. Who you got next?
They've got old players going around, but I think overall, I think they're just going to be around there. And their coaches on my watch list.
Yes, good one. Yeah, Nixie's an interesting one, isn't he? He sort of flies under the radar, but he doesn't fly under the radar. There's a lot of people who are really pointing at him going, hey, something needs to be done about you, my friend. Yeah, I reckon they've got a really, really good forward line. I think that they've got... Their midfield concerns me a bit, and I think down back, Michelini down there holds himself up really nicely. But I just think that if Rankin can have a injury-free season, Rochelle can not duck and have those challenges that he's had.
Tech stays injury-free.
Yeah, I think Fogarty has to stand up. Thilthorpe needs to stand up.
I agree. Fogarty is the one who has to stand up.
Fogarty and Thilthorpe need to stand up. And if those two do, watch out from Adelaide's perspective. Who did you have for 10th?
St Kilda. I'm going for the bounce.
Huh?
I'm going for the St Kilda bounce. Everyone's so down on the Saints. Everyone's always so bloody harsh on the Saints and they're doing nothing. And under Ross, they haven't developed. They've got a shit list. And I agree with all of those reasons. So then my 10th makes no sense other than I'm going for the feel-good vibes, Peps. We need a good St Kilda 1 year, don't we?
No.
It's been a decade.
No, because you know what? Then they play those TikTok videos of their supporter base singing their third class or second class level English Premier League songs, which is just an embarrassment. No, they're poo.
Once again, I do have the recency bias of the blowout of the first quarter on the weekend against Port at Moorabbin by 50 in the first, wherever it was in the first quarter.
Yeah.
But nah, Peps, feel good vibes from me this year. That is all I'm going with.
No. I'm going with Gold Coast, mate. I'm going with Gold Coast. I had them in.
Good reason. It's a solid idea.
It's a solid idea for a bounce back. Somebody has to bounce back, don't they? I had Gold Coast because I just don't know what's going to happen. They've got the best list in the league, bar none. Best list in the league, bar none. But whether they're a year or two away, I don't know.
Best list in what?
They've got the best list in relation to talent in the league. But it's just not all coming together. They're still young. They've got like 19 first rounders in that list. Like, they should be dominating. Whether it's going to be this year, whether it's going to be next year, I don't know. But they have to have their, they're going to have the jump to hyperspace year.
How many top 10 picks have they had over the last 10 years? Doesn't worry me.
It doesn't. But I just think that another year under Dimmer, I can see a little bit of difference in the way that they play. They're going to be hard to beat up there in the Gold Coast. And like I said, if they win 10 of their 11 or 12 games that they have up there, they only have to win another 3 around the country, and they're a massive chance to play finals. So I think
All right, who's number 9 for you?
Carlton.
Okay.
Yep. From Carlton's perspective, they have got a great spine, but I have concerns with Curnow. I think that he does kick bags, but he doesn't crunch packs. I've spoken about this before. I think that he can go missing in finals as well. That puts a lot of pressure on Mackay. Actually, funny enough, I think Mackay had the better season last year than Curnow. They still rely on Cripps. Walsh hasn't been on the park, so he's got his challenges. From a down in the backline perspective, if Wiedering goes down, they're in a massive amount of trouble. And I don't think that their depth is as strong as a lot of people think it is. They got rid of Matt Owies last year for whatever reason, who was their second highest or third highest goal kicker last year. They got rid of him. That doesn't make much sense. There's no more Jack Martin. I keep hearing that Motlop is going to be the answer, but he's not on the park as much as he should be. And I just think that, and Jagger Smith would have been the perfect replacement to come in. He's gone down with an ACL. So I'm just, yeah.
All right.
So I think Carlton finished 9th from my perspective.
Okay. For 9th for me, I've gone Port Adelaide. Transition year from Ken over to Josh. I've just gone this as a.
Why wouldn't you just get rid of him? Why are you transitioning? It's obviously you don't want Ken. So why don't you just go, Kari, here's the keys. See you later. Why have a transition year?
There's probably a contract in there.
But if it's a contract, you pay it out. You're just going to waste a season? Like, do we still in Ken we trust or not?
I think. Look, this is my non-Port Adelaide bias hat on. If any other supporter base had as many finals appearances as Port Adelaide over the last 12 years, you'd be pretty happy with that. If you're a Saints or someone supporter, you'd be going, this is great. We're at least in September. unfortunately, the expectation of the supporter base being we've been to prelims and been blown away badly every time we've been there, that Ken probably isn't the right man. The reason as to why we just don't get rid of Ken now, moving to Josh, I guess those calls would have had to have been made last year when we were in the finals to actually make that. Otherwise, you're really wrecking up your draft and potential contract hinges on like signing players into last year to do that. And I think a transition just, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Traditionally, they haven't gone too well. The exception, obviously, being you guys with Ruse to Goodwin. But every other sort of transition plan where they have a crossover doesn't tend to work out too well.
Malthouse, Clarkson, Longmire, you'd say that worked, but he didn't transition. He quit and Cox took over. Yeah, it doesn't work all that often. So, but I just don't understand it. I just don't understand it, to be honest.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's fair. All right, let's go.
In terms of our list, Peps, we lost Dan Houston. We picked up some kids. I am of the belief now of if a player wants to go, they go. One in, one out. We'll find something.
Yeah. I'm sort of like that. From my perspective, I know we've gone for kids for a reason because of what's happening in the draft in the next couple of years. So I can see why they've gone with kids. We had Dan Houston literally through the door and we screwed that up ourselves. So if you had Dan Houston on our half-back line this year, I'd be saying we'd probably be a little bit higher as well. So he's a massive in. Great for Collingwood, but they're going chips in. What I've seen from Port Adelaide so far this pre-season, I like what I see. I just think that unfortunately though, Butters being out, that's going to be a stinger. That's a stinger. That's a stinger. Righty-o.
Big time.
All right. 8th. Who have you got for 8th?
Sydney. Blue chip. They are blue chip, Peps. They cost you more to get into the stock market game, but they're gonna keep you steady.
Yep. I had Adelaide. They're my bounce team.
That's a big bounce. Okay.
Yeah, I just think that they can. There is no reason why they can't. They've got everything on their side to go, yes. Or like I've spoken about before, their forward line is immense. I just love what they've got down there in a forward line perspective. There is a bit of a transition going through the middle, but I do trust them a little bit more. Actually, funny enough, I trust them more than I do I had Carlton. I trust them more than Carlton, I think. And I can't believe I'm saying that. But I just think that their depth is just a little bit more honed. Carlton, I think, have better top-end talent, but I think their depth is a little bit more honed. But that's why.
To remind you, last year they finished 15th. You're cool with that?
I'm cool with that.
Done. Okay.
Cool with that.
Cool.
All right. Righty. Your mob are going to be 7th.
Okay.
Yes, I picked your mob to be 7th. I don't know. Now, mind you, I think the Butters is going to be a big one.
Yeah.
But I think you'll be all right. You've got to play a lot of games at home. You get a free home game with Gather Round. And I just think, unlike Craig Jones, who says Adelaide will sit around and eat shit, I think you're going to be in an all right spot. I really do think you're going to be in an all right spot this year. And yes, and in Ken we trust. I definitely believe that.
For my 7th?
Yep.
I've gone Carlton.
Okay. Yep.
Just once again, from last year, I think they've got the list there. It's just can they keep it together with injuries? 6th for you, Peps. Who you got?
For 6th, I have Hawthorn.
Okay.
And at one stage, I wasn't even going to put them in.
Yep.
Because they were really good last year. We know what happened, Hockball, etc.
Super.
But
Super. Yeah.
There's a but, and then there's you got to remember. The but is they're going to have a harder draw this year. Their double ups aren't exactly the easiest double ups to deal with. Mm-hmm. And clubs are going to be more prepared for the way that they play as well. So I think that they're going to be a bit more structured in the way that they approach Hawthorn now and who they put their time into.
Mm-hmm.
That saying, they get Will Day back, and they've now got Barras and Battle. That is going to make a massive difference to them to throw Sicily down forward. It just gives them a few more options to play with as well too. And their forward line is, with Moore, Ginnivan, and Watson, it's hard to keep in check. Newcomb is just a freak. Warple's come back from absolutely nowhere to play the way he is as well too. And so, yeah, I just think that they're a massive chance. I don't think that they're going to be top 4. I think that, like I said, they have a harder draw, and a harder draw means that you're playing harder teams, and harder teams means that you don't get the wins that you got the year before easily. But they did start 0-5 and still made finals. Got to give them some credit there as well too. But how long will emotion last for? I don't know.
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
I've got Jdog. Yes, last year they finished 4th. This year I've got them finishing 6th.
Who's that?
GWS Giants.
Okay. Yep.
And I think that's just. I look at last year's 8, and there's not many drops from me.
Mm-hmm.
Other than we've got Port, I had dropping, and someone else in there. Who do I have?
Collingwood.
I had Collingwood. Yes,
and the Bulldogs. Yep.
Who was last year? Sorry, no, who was out of there? Anyway, I can't remember. But yeah, I've got GWS in my 6th position.
I've got Sydney. But I did say
5th or 6th?
5th.
Yep. Sydney in 5th.
Sydney in 5th. Now, here's my big one. I think they are still a massive chance to miss.
Mm-hmm.
And my reasoning behind it is that their forward line at the moment still doesn't worry me. I still think they can be a bit flighty at times. Now, unless McLean or Amadi have a bit more of a standout year, I'm not worried about them. Also, you've got Errol Goulden, who's going to be out for, you'd almost say, half a year as well.
That was it last year, Peps. I mean, like, they were breaking records in a amount of, like, midfielders getting down, kicking goals was unprecedented.
Well, this is what I want to highlight. So Joel Amadi kicked 43, right? But he kicked 9 in one of those games. So for the remainder of the year, he only kicked 32. Yep. Bit of a worry.
And we still have him in the grand final with that as well.
Exactly right. Will Hayward, he had 41. Fair enough. Logan McDonald, 37. And even he doesn't, like, he had chances to win games. I think it was last year and couldn't. So those 3, I just go... Then you got Tom Papley. You know what's going to... Tom Papley kicked 36. He'll probably kick another 36, 40 this year. But then you had Chad Warner kick 38. Is he going to kick another 38 or 35 goals again this year? He was off the chain. Isaac Heaney had 34. McLean had 27. Those two, you know, getting close to 70 goals out of Warner and Heaney. I don't think you're going to get that again. And then Errol Goulden, I know he only kicked 15, but Errol Goulden, his work was immense. And that's why in the Brownlow he finished on 25. He's a gun. He can play. He's not going to be there for a lot of the season. Have they got anyone to step up in that? And from their backline perspective, they've got, well, McCartan's not going to be there. What's his name's not going to be? Rampy and Lloyd are still running around at the ages of 38 and 39. Like, I think they have to have a bit of a transition period, I think, the Swans. Mm-hmm. Especially down back, and I'm a bit concerned about them. Right. So I've put them in for 5th because the trust factor's there a lot more than some other clubs, but it wouldn't surprise me if they missed altogether just because of, if Heaney goes down, they're in a massive amount of trouble, and if Warner goes down, I think they're in a massive amount of trouble because who's going to be in their midfield then?
Yeah, exactly right. And I think that was the last year was like, towards the back end, we started to see some teams exposing them because they started to get some injuries. So
Yep.
Fair call.
Yeah, Craigie Jones is
In my
saying that
view-
Butters will be back by round 3. I hear
Mhm.
3. I hear a little bit later. I don't know. I'm only going by what the tabloids say.
My
I've-
fifth?
No, 4th. Top 4 now.
No. In my
Yours.
fifth
Sorry, yours
position
5th.
for my
Then
ladder,
your 5th position.
I've got Western Bulldogs.
Okay.
Last year finished 6th. I reckon they're going to go up 1. No, I know you've highlighted the reasons why they're going to drop significantly.
Yep.
But I'm going to back them in. I'm going to back them in.
Like it. I love the faith. You got to have some faith. Who's your 4th spot?
I've got a big one here, Peps.
Yeah.
This is where it gets interesting. I have gone for Freo.
Yeah.
I just think that I know they finished last year pretty dismally with 4 losses on the trot, but before that, they were there. They were there in the 8, and they just fell away. So I'm going to say for them, they're going to finish 4th, Peps.
Love your work. Well, I am saying with my selections, I'm going with GWS to finish 4th. And the main reason that I've got for that is Tom Green's going to be a bit of a miss, but they are a skilled unit. I think the only issue that I have with GWS is that when they don't have the ball, they don't work as hard back the other way.
Yep.
So that's my challenge and my thoughts with that. But I will say that getting Stringer up there just has another foil for Hogan. And they're just a solid team, and I like Adam Kingsley as a coach. And hi to Lee Mack, the watermelon sugar. Love him. What's watermelon sugar?
All right. Let's get through the last couple. All right. So who you got for 3rd, Peps?
Freo.
Okay. I've got Hawthorn.
I got Freo in for 3rd.
Very good.
Their forward line's mint. Their back line is solid. Their midfield is just, and they're quick.
And they win over there.
And they win over there. And watching them yesterday take on my mob, when they get the ball and if they get out the other way, good luck stopping them. They're just Sarong is a freak. Just
3rd, we're very similar now. 3rd, I've got Hawthorn for the same reasons. I love a bit of hawk ball. I'm still living 2024 for that.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
This is where it gets interesting because there's only 2 teams left and we both haven't said them. Brisbane I've got for 2nd.
Okay.
Yep. And that means I've got Geelong finishing 1st. But that doesn't mean that they're going to be premiers. I've just got them finishing 1st. You get Bailey Smith down there. I know I said earlier I don't rate him, but he just fills a hole for Geelong. They've got the best coach in the league in Chris Scott. They've got the best home ground advantage, I would almost say, in the league down at GMHBA Stadium. They've probably got
the best farmlands.
They've got the best farmlands. They've got the best cotton on deals. They've got all the best sponsorships, and they've probably got the best accountants as well. And that's why they're going to finish there. And I just think with Brisbane, like they've won the flag. They got 5 blokes with ACL injuries to come back into that team, and you throw in another Ashcroft. I can't see them going backwards unless the hunger's not there. That's the only thing I can see. If the hunger's not there, they'll get caught out. But they just
I had Geelong in 2nd and Brisbane in 1st for me.
They just look cherry ripe. Absolutely cherry ripe.
All right. So, how did you go at home with your ladder? Does it stack up to ours? Leave us some comments and just tell us how you went. Peps.
Yes.
We love the death ride.
Yep.
First coach to go 2025.
I've got. Can I have 2?
You can have 2.
Bevo is my first.
Yep.
And good one.
Okay. Yep.
If Melbourne get off to a bad start this year, the Jungle Drums will be like banging hard, like Johnny Sins hard. That's what we're talking. That's how bad it's going to be, I would say. But Bevo, and I feel sorry for him in a way with the injury list that he's got, but I just think that those 2 are the ones that are really, really in danger.
Okay. I have got this year for me Nixie from Adelaide Crows. Oh. And I'm going to go Ross the Boss.
Nah, they won't get rid of Ross. I can't see St Kilda sacking a coach who they sacked a coach to bring him in.
Yeah, but St Kilda have also done that before. Like, there's no trust in their systems.
Are St Kilda the Victorian version of the West Coast Eagles? Nobody wants to coach them.
But then when they have a coach that's committed, they sack the coach.
Oh, they signed him up to a contract and then they sack him.
Oh, that was right. But before that, they had McWalter. What was he? Wasn't he like, we love him, and all of a sudden he's just been.
Oh, well, no, Scott Waters. Yeah, they got rid of him. Yeah, they got rid of him. Yep. Yeah, so that's two. They're the two.
I can't see anyone from North. I can't see Alistair going anywhere from North. I can't see.
What about the Longmuir situation in Perth? He's not on a contract. He's on an employee agreement. Now, if anybody here is in HR, can you please tell me what the difference between a contract and an employee agreement? Like, does one get annual leave? Does he get, maternity leave? What's get a free gym membership? I don't know. What's the?
Will he be in trouble, Peps, if Carlton go for a stinker again?
Actually, I reckon, yeah. I didn't think about that. Yeah. And do you know who else I reckon would be? They'll start asking questions a little bit about.
Who's that?
Craig McRae. What happens if Collingwood miss again? And they've gone down this route. They've gone down this route of playing for a flag now. What happens if they miss finals again?
I think he's safe for 1 year. He's got the premiership halo.
He did, but that was last year. What if he misses again this year? But I do reckon Voss. That's a great one. I reckon Voss the Boss could be tossed.
All right, who else we got? What's the next category? We had
Rising Star. I am going with someone who's close to my heart. I'm going with Harvey Langford. I got to see him live a couple of weeks ago. He is just a man-child. 190 odd centimeters.
Stingray boy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Can play, has a bit of size about him, and he's going to play in the midfield. And that's where they tend to get a bit of attraction. And I just like him. But you know what? Here's my Smokey though. My Smokey. If this guy kicks 35 to 40 goals this year, Isaac Kako will be a rising star. If he kicks 40 goals, yep. Who'd you have?
Yeah. So I probably had it somewhere between a Jagger and a Sam Layla before injuries for those boys.
Yep.
And I don't mind the Langford pick. Yep. I don't mind that at all. I'm going to go Josh Smiley.
Yep, nice. Like it.
Rangers boy, Richmond, you've got what's his name? Lombard.
Leo Lombard.
He was from the Quaffle, from Broadbeach to the Gold Coast. He could also be another one.
He could, but he's going to be out for a few weeks with his shoulder reconstruction after he tried to take out somebody midair and did his shoulder. That's it.
That's the thing. This year, because of your sort of your top 4, top 3 have been taken out by injuries. The first few games they're going to come back or not come back for is going to impact their end of the year scores.
And it's very rare that somebody wins it outside of the first 6 weeks.
Yes.
So whoever's in the top 6 after 6 weeks, that's someone from that group is going to win it. Unless there has
Josh
been...
Smiley for me for Richmond.
Pardon? Yep. Exactly right. I would say Coleman medalist. I'm going with the same one I chose last year, which is Nick Larkey. I think having Darling down there now will just take a bit of pressure off him. And at Marvel, he's reliable for 3-4 a game. It's very rare that he's off. And I reckon Yeah, he's a massive chance to take it.
Oh. I'm probably going to have to go a Carlton player. Just pick one of them. Peps, pick one for me.
I'll go Mackay.
Go Mackay for me.
Yeah. Okay,
One of
we'll
those
go
two boys
Mackay.
are going to go for me.
Alrighty then. Brownlow medalist. Now you can't say Josh. You can actually say Josh Dacos if you want. Okay, but
Doesn't sound like fun to me.
nah. Can I say last year's Brownlow was an absolute crock of shit? How many votes did he end up on? 45? Come on, mate.
Yeah.
Like, Cripps is a good player, but he's not a 45. That's 13 best on grounds. No.
Who would be your pick?
For Brownlow? Caleb Sarong.
Yeah. Finished 4th last year.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Because I punish him in my ladder.
Yep. Lee Mack's gone on a big, he's gone on a big ledge here, Nick Dacos. Big ledge. Risky choice. Here's an interesting fact for you. You know, here's the thing about Nick Dacos. Interesting fact for you all. Never taken a contested mark in his entire career.
Are you accusing him of Sam Mitchelling?
Tom
Mitchell, not Sam Mitchell, Tom Mitchell.
He's not an all-round player. Doesn't take contested marks.
Tom Mitchell's about him. All right, I'm going to go, because I love this player. I love him in my list, and I just think he's the sexiest redhead in the league, Matty Rao.
Oh, I thought you were going to go Clayton. Yeah, big chance. He's been getting a lot more outside ball. Yep, I like it. I
think he's the most boring, average bloke, but I just love him. There's something about him I love.
It's a bit like me, Jdog. Bit like me. And look, I'm going for a grand final. Simple as this. If I'm going for a grand final, I am going with. I'm going to throw up something that I changed my mind literally right then. I'm going to go with a Geelong Fremantle grand final.
Geelong who?
Fremantle.
Oh, good one.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think that there's something about Freo this year. There's just something.
All right. I'm going to go. I had Freo in my list.
Yeah.
But I want some razzle dazzle. I want some Hawthorn.
Fair enough. I like it.
Hawthorn.
I like it. Hey, Jdog, there's one last thing we have to do before we wrap up this first sort of, soft launch for 2025 is that we have to look out for this week's games. Watch this for a transition. I don't think you can see it, but everybody else can. Have a look. Whoa, look at that. So, opening round this year is kicking off on Thursday, unless the cyclone hits, and then we're going to be completely changing. So, we've got Brisbane and Geelong. I'm going Brisbane just because it's at home. Then your Friday night, Swans and Hawks. I'd probably go Swans just because it's at home. Gold Coast, Essendon, I'm going to go Gold Coast. And GWS, Collingwood, I'm going to go GWS. So all home teams, in my humble opinion, are going to be winning this week. I think round 0 is just an absolute crock of shit. Play all the games at once or just move everything forward 1 week. You could have just moved forward the entire round for the entire week forward, but they wanted to try and take the talk off the NRL. No, doesn't work that way. So that is opening round, and that means, wow, look at that flashback. That means we are over for round O.
Almost Peps.
Oh, what?
I just want to remind people that the 2025 broadcasting deal starts this year. If you are a free-to-air person, you need to be aware that you will only have 3 or 4 games a week on your TV. Thursday, Friday, and Sunday will be your games. You will miss out on Saturdays. So you will need to work out, if you are a footy lover, how you are going to watch your football. There are many, many ways. Peps and I have been discussing. KO for a single membership is $25 a year. A family pass is up to $40. That gives you 2 streams at the same time.
So what you can do is you can go
You've got
Harvey's in that,
BB
and then
King-
you can
BB
have one each.
BB Kingdom.
BBTV, yeah,
TV.
BBTV. Yep, that's another one, $19, but you get something like 480 channels, which if you want, I could probably get a link for you all. But BBTV, BB Kingdom, have a look. They're on Instagram. I had a bit of a crack at it yesterday. It's not too bad. So if you've got a Fire Stick or you've got a Chromecast that works on that beautifully. But yeah, otherwise you're going to have a KO, get a Foxtel. I'd say probably go the KO, split it with your best mate. I could go Harvey's with Jdog once I get a job again. And then we could have a log in each. But besides that, yeah, you're not going to have it's Super Saturday unless you haven't got any of those, and you're going to have to probably watch The Sound of Music again for the 88th time.
Just be aware that this year is free to air is really dog shit.
Yep.
I'm sorry. It's the way it is now. But
yeah, but they get the
shit.
Thursday game. They get the Thursday night game. So, and they're going to get all the finals
no
as well.
Saturday.
Too. Yep.
Saturday, Peps. No Saturday.
Yep.
You're gonna log in at 6 o'clock on a Saturday night and log into bloody 7 News followed by Better Homes and Gardens.
And then The Sound of Music. Again. Unbelievable.
Sorry,
hey,
on
a downer. That's okay.
Everyone's aware that this is the year that it all changes. So you need to.
So don't come on next week saying, "Oh, sat down to watch me footy and nothing there." Go watch local footy when it starts. Go watch a practice match. Go take the missus out. Do something. Maybe you might.
One
might score
less a day can give you a KO subscription, basically.
Yes. But I like coffee too much, so stuff ya. And that's it. That's the end of our first episode for season 2025. Jdog, great to have you on board. We were a bit rusty tonight, I must admit, but we've got our ladders, we've got our tips, we've got everything ready to rock and roll. So next week we'll be able to talk about some games, bit of controversy. Obviously, don't be afraid to send us through any questions on the chat or during the week on the socials. But more importantly, if you haven't liked or subscribed, make sure you do it on the YouTube channel. I really do appreciate it if you could do that. We've jumped it by about 20% in the last couple of weeks too in terms of our subscriber base. So we're really trying to get up to at least that 500 to 1,000 by the end of the year. And we can only do it if you join on. So just hit the subscribe button. Helps us out and helps you guys out by getting even greater content and better guests as well too. So Jdog, thank you very much for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great week. Hope that you enjoy your football this weekend for the 4 games, and we'll see you 8 p.m. next Monday. Tell me if you like the new format, the new look and bits and pieces. I want to hear from you as well. Have a great week, everyone.
See you.